Hello there everyone. Today we're going to tie this. This is a small baitfish pattern. This is called the STF baitfish because it primarily is designed out of polar or STF dubbing. Those two products are the same. It just depends on what company you get it from. But in as I said, it's the same product. So STF or polar dubbing is the same. So I'm going to tie this on a size 6 Ahrex light stinger hook. Where did I put those? Hello there everyone. Today we're gonna do this. This is a small baitfish pattern. This is called the STF or the polar dub baitfish. It's a fairly simple pattern but a really good small baitfish imitation. The hook I'm gonna use is the Ahrex light stinger. In size 6, a size 8 or a size 4 is a good size also for these, but the size 6 is what is probably the most used size for the Danish coastline. So I'm gonna apply my tying thread, and the thread I'm using here is the Vivus 50D N, a GPS thread that really works very well. So basically we're gonna use some STF dubbing or polar dubbing, some red dubbing, some mylar flesh, flashaboo, some fish masks, and some eyes, and well, basically that's it. So the first thing we need is to tie down a small tail to make the tapering and the look of this fly as complete as possible and as good as possible. So it takes just take a bundle of the STF dubbing, and I tie this here, just where the hook starts to bend, just near the hook bend, like so. And this is going to be the tail part of the fly. So if I want it a bit more bulky, then I simply I think this is quite okay actually. Do I want it a bit more bulky? Oh, that's okay. So this is going to be my tail here, and I'm just gonna tie down on top of this. I've tied in the other way because here we're gonna add some opal tinsel. So in order to have a fairly even base for this, then we need to have the same thickness of the body here for when we're tying on the tinsel. Actually, I want a bit more for the tail here. So I'm gonna take a small bundle more of the dubbing. This is a fairly long fiber dubbing, and that's why it's so good for baitfish patterns like this, and for shrimps and stuff like that also. So basically just like that. We can always trim this dubbing down later on if we have the need with simply by pulling on it like that. The next thing we need to do is to make a dubbing loop, and we're going to use this later on. So I'm basically just going to make it now because we need it, and then I'm going to hang it here on the back of my vise like that. Then I'm going to take some opal tinsel, tie this down here, and then move the tying thread a bit further up the hook shank. You could add some weight to this fly if you like, in the form of some lead wire or non-lead wire and stuff like that, but this fly is meant to hover a lot, so that's basically why I do not give it any weight like this. So I just turn this on about 2/3 of the body here. Tie this down, cut that off, and then on the last part of the body here we need some fluorescent red dubbing. Not a lot, but just something to create more contrast to the STF dubbing that is going to be used all the way up to here. So basically just a small amount of dubbing here, just to cover the hook, as to not make this fly too bulky. Because if it's too bulky and too dense, it will not look like the actual thing. It will not look like a baitfish at all. So just a bit more here. And as you can see, I'm using fairly small amounts of dubbing here every time I use some dubbing, and that's basically because it's easier to add more than it is to pull something off once you're done. You can cut some of these longer ones off if you want. Then the next thing, oh no, what's happened here? That's annoying. Well, basically, this is not the vise I normally use. This is a Regal vise. And what has happened is that my tying thread has somehow entangled, my dubbing loop has somehow entangled in the spring. That's pretty annoying, because I need this dubbing loop. I'm just gonna solve this 1 second. Well, I can't solve that, so what I have to do is I have to cut off my dubbing loop. Fairly annoying. And in order to save this fly and just show you how it's done, I just tie onto, I know this is not how it's supposed to be done, but I just make a new dubbing loop here and have to turn my thread all over the body and the dubbing, and oh, it's just annoying. But I hope you can see past that. It's not gonna affect my fly that much. So like that. So I have the dubbing now. There. Good. So now I have my dubbing loop that is not entangled, and then I fill this with the STF dubbing, and not too much dubbing, because you want this to be still transparent and looking like food. So you take some dubbing, but not too much in here, because this is work kind of like it's gonna give some bulk to the fly and give it that fish-like quality, but you don't want it to be too bulky. So I've added the dubbing to the dubbing loop now. I'm gonna take my Turbo CF Design dubbing twister. This is by far the best dubbing twister I've ever tried. And then basically I just spin that. So I get my dubbing here. And what I can see now is I have too much dubbing in here, so I'm just gonna pull some of this out before I even start turning, like so. So I get a dubbing loop that is not too big, not too bulky, but still has the correct amount of dubbing. And then I turn this, but I do not turn this completely on top of one another. I have some room in between my turns in order to simply make the opal tinsel be able to shine through. And then I turn into the red part of the fly here, like so. I'm gonna fold everything back now. And then here, just out in front of the eye, I'm gonna turn 1 or 2 times more than what I did on the rest of the fly, to give it a bit more bulk in the head part of the fly, like this, like that. Gonna tie down my dubbing loop here. I'm gonna cut off the dubbing loop. Fold everything back, make a small head of the tying thread. Then I'm gonna make a whip finish, like this. And as I said, this is a great pattern for, this is a great way of tying baitfish, and you can use this for any imitations of smaller baitfish, regardless of if it's anchovies or if it's small gobies or whatever. I can see my tail is too long here, so I'm basically just gonna rip some of it off, like that. I need my dubbing needle also for this. I'm gonna have to pull a bit more of the dubbing out here. To give it more translucent effect. And that looks way better. Like so, and as you can see, the red will shine through this, especially once it hits the water, and so will the opal tinsel inside. inside this. They will shine through both of them. Then I'm going to take a fish mask in size 3, and the sizes of these fish masks is referring to the size of eyes that will fit in there. So I'm going to take a size 3, which will fit a 3mm eye. I take a bit of sabagap and put this inside the head here, the sabagap, so that it will latch onto the fly. On the original pattern, it's made with UV glue, but this is easier and will work as well. And basically I just push this over here, and there you have a perfect little head, very easily done, and it works as well as the UV glue. It's not as heavy as the UV glue, but it will get the job done, and the fly looks simply awesome very easily. So then the last thing is to take a bit more of the super glue, the sabagap. Add a bit of it to the dentation there is in this head for the groove for the eye, like so. And then you can of course add whatever color of eyes you would like, but I like this opal and black and white here. I'm gonna add one on this side, like that, and then one on the other side. A red would probably would have been pretty nice as well. Holy, like that. And I can of course take my dubbing needle and just make sure it's in place. So there you have it, a small, very efficient, very fast tied baitfish pattern that will work great for both sea trouts and for trouts in general, and of course probably for sea bass and stuff like that. And you can make this bigger as well. The dubbing will support even bigger fly than this, up to the size 2, maybe something like that. So a fairly easy and good way to make a highly efficient and good baitfish pattern. Thank you a lot for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Of course, as always, the full material kit for this fly is available at flytying.eu. Swing by and see the webshop there. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, it would mean a lot to me if you would do that. So thank you for watching, and good luck out on the water.